How's it going, guys? So basically, I'm doing a part two because yesterday I was really sleepy and I didn't cover everything at the E3 Xbox, Bethesda, what have you shit. I don't know the exact name, but basically it's this. I'm an older gamer. I'm not up to date with everything, and because of that, some people may wonder why I'm not into certain stuff. But the truth of the matter is, I'm not one of those people who hates everything new these days. And I want to make that known. But let me go ahead and just cover some stuff that wasn't talked about. So, I didn't really talk much about that Tom Clancy game, The Division. From what I saw, it looked okay. But really, when it comes to Tom Clancy games, there isn't that much story. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're decent games, but in terms of like, if you're wanting a story mode with a lot of depth, I've never played any Tom Clancy game that really stuck out to me. I'll look into this Division because I never even played the first one, but I did play. What have I played? I played Vegas. I played Rainbow Six. I played a tiny bit of this other one. It was pretty strategic. It was probably the most strategic shooter I ever played. It was a long time ago. I think it was back on PlayStation 2. But in terms of The Division, I've never played this game, so I really don't have much to comment. But I will say I am impressed with Tom Clancy games. They're probably the most strategic shooters that I have played. So if you're looking for a strategic shooter, I would say definitely give one of them a chance. But the sad thing is, it just seems like every shooter game is lacking in something, whether it's story or mechanics. I don't know if any of you guys have ever played Call of Duty 4, but I love the mechanics in Call of Duty 4. Like, it had, of course, the WAD walk, and of course S for backwards. But the Q, to the left, the W, you could like peek around. It would make you like peek, and the E, peek the other way. And I really enjoyed that. Have peeking mode, I guess you could call it. So you don't just have to expose your whole body. And I thought that was a really good mechanic, and I don't know why Call of Duty did away with that. But it was on the fourth one, and maybe it was on the third. I'm not really sure. But for one reason or another, when they started making the Modern Warfare games, I don't think they had that. Because I've played Modern Warfare before, and I don't remember using that or having that option. But yeah, in terms of The Division, unfortunately, I don't really have much else to say on that. But another thing I missed out on, and I typed a little bit in the subheading of my last video, but Gears of War 5, and I called it 6 because I'm so out of touch with Gears of War. But the truth of the matter is, I like Gears of War, and I am actually a big Xbox guy, but there's just something about it that didn't keep me involved with the series. I stopped after 2. I really do like certain mechanics within the game. I like the run. I don't know why it's so addicting when they run. It just like time slows down. It's just really cool. And I like of course, the chainsaw gun and stuff like that. But it never kept me. I don't know. It just something about it. I played a little bit of the third one too. I played a demo, and like, don't get me wrong, they are good games, but I just personally feel like there wasn't enough to keep me invested in it. Now, that's just my personal opinion. I know there are people out there who would live and die for the series, but I stopped after 2, and I just played a little bit of 3. I don't know. I just, it's funny because back in the day, I know some of you guys remember this game, the one for PlayStation 3, that was kind of like, the Sony version of Gears of War. It was, what was that game? It had a pretty big multiplayer for its time. It was like, you could play with like over 60 people, which was a big deal back in the day. Shit, I don't remember the name of it. I'll link it in the description. I know it'll come to me, but, yeah, that game was pretty cool, and I did invest a lot of time in that game. But I think I just got so burned out on those kinds of games that I just stopped playing stuff like Gears of War. It's just, you have to realize, guys, 80% of games these days are just shooters. So I'm not going to stay invested with all of them. I'm not one of those gamers. And really, I would suggest all you guys, I mean, if you are one of those people, really, I would just say try to expand your horizons a little bit. I would say a good 60% of games that were showcased at E3 were shooters. That's not a bad percentage, but I would have liked to see other games. As I stated in my last video, part 1, I felt like they sort of, this is kind of a harsh thing to say, but I felt like it was a slap in the face to older gamers. I didn't grow up with shooters. I'm from a time before shooters. Well, technically there were, but they were mostly on PC. I like adventure games. I like side-scrollers and stuff like that, and there was little to nothing. I mean, sure, there was Tomb Raider, and if you want to call Devil May Cry an adventure game, which it really isn't, but there wasn't a whole lot for someone my age, people in their 30s and 40s and up. There wasn't much for it. There wasn't much for them. But, Battletoads, that shit had me rolling on the ground. Nobody asked for that fucking game. No one wanted that meme, okay? I have nightmares from Battletoads on the NES. That game was fucking hard. I don't want to play Battletoads anymore. I'm traumatized. Those damn green alien-like creatures. I don't know why I'm even a fan of Ninja Turtles. They remind me of Battletoads. That's how traumatized I was by that shit. But seriously, though, I know there have been games lately like that Sega Genesis collection, but I just want new shit, I'm sick of just playing HD, modified old school games. And I feel like, I don't know if, raise your hand if you think that I'm right on this, but I feel like companies have just completely neglected the older gamer these days. There's so many old titles they could remake, but they choose not to. Instead, they choose to make all these fucking shooter games. And I will admit that shit does piss me off. But anyways, enough ranting on that. So another title that I didn't cover was what was it, Cyberpunk 2077 or something, which had no gameplay at all, which really threw me for a loop. Why are you going to showcase a game if there's no fucking gameplay, E3? Guys, y'all are just ridiculous. And something else that someone mentioned in a video I saw, which was kind of hilarious, is that they gave more attention to FIFA 2019 than they did Battlefield 5, which is hilarious. And that shows you where their priorities are. But seriously, though, yeah, like this is a separate rant, but I've lost a lot of respect for fucking EA Sports, for just EA as a company. I've lost a lot of respect for them. To me, they've become a lot like Konami, and you can tell their main priority, is money. But anyways, speaking on that Cyberpunk whatever 2077, I can't really give much of a comment because there was no gameplay. I mean, sure, it was a skull fuck. It looked really cool. It looked like somebody said in the comments, like Grand Theft Auto in like the year 3000 or something. I don't know, but wouldn't that be cool though if they did make a Grand Theft Auto, like a futuristic Grand Theft Auto? what would you do? You like rob people in midair, just throw them on the ground, whoo! They like fall to their death, and you steal their little their little flying car. That'd be pretty fucking hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I really have nothing to go on this. I don't even know the plot or anything. I just noticed there were a lot of Mohawks, which I thought was pretty cool. So it may be a game I will look forward to in the future and want to play, and it may not. You guys have to be careful, and I've stated this in the last video. Companies everywhere you go, you have to be careful with gimmicks. They're fucking everywhere. Like with Dying Light 2, I called this the wrong title. I think I said it was Just Cause in my last video, but in Dying Light, they really emphasized, the parkour. Oh, this game's got parkour. Oh, I can run around and jump, and do all this shit, which, mind you, is really cool. But their main emphasis was that. They didn't even showcase much of the zombies, which I thought was funny. And you really have to be careful when people do that, because when they're just mainly throwing gimmicks at you, that to me says they're just trying to compensate for a shitty game. So really, I mean, I'm not trying to judge them, but I would just say really be careful with Dying Light 2 because it could just be a piece of shit with parkour. And if you want to spend, you know, your $60 on that, go ahead. But really, guys, just be careful. But anyways, there was also a new Doom title, which I haven't seen yet, so unfortunately I can't comment on. But I have to say it's hilarious because they're taking a big risk like they are with Devil May Cry 5. For whatever reason, Doom got hated on a lot, which I don't really know why. I didn't play the game, but I saw a lot of the gameplay, and it looked like a really good game. See, people are so nostalgic, they can't seem to accept change. This is why Devil May Cry 4 was hated on so much, because there were new mechanics and I guess, you know, newer other stuff that people just threw a fucking tantrum. And I'm afraid that, you know, unfortunately, these kinds of people are going to spoil stuff for gamers like me, you know, for the genuine guy who doesn't moan and bitch about stuff. And so I'm just really surprised that these people even want to give, you know, their fans that, because if I were a developer, I mean, I'll just be honest with you guys, I would be at the point where I would just be like, you know what, fuck you. I'm not making you spoiled cunts anything. Really, I would do that. I mean, I understand that money is a main motive, and, you know, of course that's involved, I'm sure, in their minds. But I'm one of those people where I guess I hold on to grudges and stuff like that, and I wouldn't even, like, my fans wouldn't even deserve another Devil May Cry. I just have to say that. The way that it was shat on, you know, the way that Doom was shat on, I can't believe that ID Games would even want to make another Doom. Is ID Games, do they still make Doom? I don't even know. I'm so fucking behind on the times. But all I can say is, yeah, unfortunately I don't have a comment on that because I didn't see any of the gameplay. But I mean, honestly, judging by the last one, I would say that, you know, it's probably going to be really good. But that's just my opinion. So anyways, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. Peace.